Okay, now that we've defined our site, we're going to move on to actually starting to create the website. And the first thing we need to do is we need to create what we call our template page. Now this template page is important because from it we're going to create all the other pages for our website. So to do it, it's really, really easy. Okay, we first of all want to go up to window, and we want to go to properties. Okay, now you might notice that when you do this, it might open up down here somewhere. Okay, I'll just snap it. Okay, or it might look, just double click, you might see it appears there, properties. What you want to do is you want to drag it off and you want to snap it to the bottom of your screen. If it closes like that, just double click the top of it. Make sure you can see your properties at the bottom. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up our first page. So we've got our properties window here. We've got our site that's defined. Notice how our folders are grey. If you have got yellow folders here when you're watching this video, please stop and go back to video 1 and define your site again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this button here, create new, or you can just go file new, whichever works best for you. Okay, we want to set a HTML page. We're going to give it a title. Now I'm going to call mine Sweet. Give it shop. I'm going to call it template. Now you might want to call yours something like Angela's travel template or something similar to that. Okay, now I'm going to go to create. Okay, now you'll notice now we've created our page, we have got down here our document title, we've got our properties window. This is important because this allows us to edit the site. I'm just going to close that down. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is we need to insert, okay, a couple of tables into our HTML page, because at the moment, if I just show you the code, okay, you can see we haven't got very much in our page. Now what you might find is, you might find that you currently got this view when you first open it up, okay, or you might find you have it in live view, okay. Now what I suggest you do is set live view to design, and then click on the actual design button so all you see is the white screen, okay. That's all we need for what we're going to do today with this table. So I'm then going to go to insert my table. So I go insert, okay, go to table. Okay, now with this example here, we're going to create what's called a container table. So I'm going to have one column and I'm going to put 5 rows. Now it might be a case that I can delete rows if I need to. You can do it. Think of it almost like editing an Excel spreadsheet. You can edit it once you've created it. Now the table width I'm going to set to be the width of the page. So I'm going to make mine 1024 pixels. Okay. I'm going to set the border thickness to 0. Now it does default to 1, so you might find on your one the first time you open it up that it's got a 1 there. Change that to 0 or you'll get a horrible line around your table. Leave cell padding, leave that, and I'm going to set that to top. Okay. I'm going to click OK. Okay. Now, what you'll notice down here at the bottom, okay, if I just click on my table again, you'll notice you've got what we call breadcrumbs. Now, I just want to click out of your table, click into it, and then just go along the bottom here and click on table. Okay, then you want to go down here to where it says align, and we're going to set it to center. Now, if you don't do that, what will happen is when you preview your page, it will always left align as default. So we set it to center. Okay, and then what I want to do, and think about how you would edit a spreadsheet in Excel. I'm going to click in the bottom cell, and I'm just going to drag up, and you'll notice how it's highlighting them, okay, with the black line. I'm then going to let go. I'm going to go, and you'll notice now we're in the T-body breadcrumb. So I'm going to go down here to where it says horizontal, and I'm going to set that to center. And I'm going to go to where it says vert, and I'm going to set that to top. Okay, so what that will do is any content we put in, it will set it to the middle and to the center, and it will also align it to the top of the cell. Again, if you don't do this, what will happen is your content, when you drop it in, will go skew. It won't align very nicely. Okay, so that's our first table. Okay, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to create a table for my buttons. Okay, so to do this, I'm just going to pause. Okay, so this next bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a table to hold my buttons and my logo. Now you should have already, before you get to this stage, created your buttons and logo. And if you've not yet done that, just watch while I just explain how they do fit in, and then you'll need to pause the video and go and create them. So if I just show you my buttons folder, I do apologise, it's a bit laggy. Okay, so what I've created is I've created 5 buttons. Okay, so I've got a home page, okay, about, okay, shop, suites, and a contact set of buttons. And for each button, there's 2 versions of it. Okay, so there's a normal state, and then there's a rollover state. Okay, and you can see I've just labelled them appropriately. So I've got home button and then home button RO, which stands for rollover. Now the buttons at each, if I just hover over it, should tell us. Okay, so the buttons are each 164 pixels by 40 pixels high. Now the height isn't really important, so the 40 pixels high isn't really important, but the width is, because you need to measure out exactly how many buttons you need for your web page. Okay, and then you need to share the width of the page. So in this example, our width is 1024 pixels. Okay, so I've had to get in 5 buttons, and then I've also had to get into my table, okay, my logo. So if I just show you my logo, we know the buttons are 164 pixels wide. In this one, the logo is 204 pixels. So if you add my 164 pixels times that by 5 and then add 204 pixels for the logo, it should make exactly 1024 pixels. Okay, so you need to do something similar. Now, in my example I'm making here, the buttons and the logo are going to fit onto the same row. In some examples, you might have your navigation buttons on one row and then a big website banner on the row above it where you might have your logo, etc. Okay, so depending on the website you're creating will depend on how you do this next bit. But in this example, I'm going to have my logo and my buttons on the same row. So I'm going to create now my table to hold that content together. So to do that, I'm going to click in the table at the top row. I'm going to go Insert. I'm going to go to Table again. Okay, this time I want one row. Okay, but I want 6 buttons. Okay, so one row along the top and 6 buttons. So to do that, I have one row and 6 columns, because each column, okay, will hold the logo and then the 5 buttons. Again, set the width to 1024, set the thickness to 0 and set it to top, then click OK. And you'll notice now that we have got inside our table, okay, a button. Now I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before, so I'm going to click on the table, click inside our new table that we've created, go along the breadcrumbs. Now you'll notice there's 2. This is our nested table here, the one we've just inserted, okay, and then that one is the big one. So we want to go for this one, the nested table. We're going to set it to center, okay, and we're going to select along all of the 6 columns, and I'm going to set it to center, and then set it to top, okay. So now what we need to do is we need to insert our content. Now the logo is really easy to do because it's just an image. So all I do is click in the cell, and I'm going to go Insert, Image, go into my Assets folder, go into my logo folder, and then click on the logo. Okay, now when you do this, the same thing will happen to yours where the cell will go big. Don't worry about it for now because we've still got our 5 buttonholes. Remember, if you've got more buttons, you'll have more columns here. You should have already set that up in the last task. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to insert my buttons. So to do it, it's really easy. Just click in the cell. The first one's going to be our home button. This first button should always be home. Okay, I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go down to HTML. I'm going to go down to Rollover Image. I'm just looking for Rollover Image. Sorry, so I'm going to go, I was right there, so I'm going to click in the cell. It's just I'm using my mini computer. Insert, go down to insert, go down to HTML. Okay, now you should on your screen be able to see this, but I just need to click this black arrow here just to go down, and we want Rollover Image. Okay, we need to give it a name, so this one is the home button. Okay, we need to tell Dreamweaver where the button is, so we go Browse. Go back to our asset folder in the roots and go to buttons. We need to find the home button, and what we want is we want the home button, this one, not the rollover. Okay, this is the standard one. Okay, then we need to put our rollover image, okay, which is, if you look at the example I've got here, excellent. Okay, now the alternative text, this is if you've got somebody who's blind who can't see the rollover images, so we just put a label here, home button, and then they'll be able to view it on a braille pad. And then we're just going to put the link in. Now remember, we always call the home page index, so I'm going to put index.html. The reason we do this is it just saves our time when we come to link our buttons at a further date. Now this will depend on the pages you're creating. So I'm just going to now click OK, and our home button will appear on the page. Okay, so I'm going to click in the next cell. I'm going to go back up to Insert, HTML, okay, and just find Rollover Image again. There it is. This one's going to be our About button. Okay, so do the same thing again. Go to Original Image. Choose the Rollover button. Okay. So this is the About button. And you'll notice here, because this is the About page, I'm just going to put about.html. Now, if your page has got a title that involves more than one word, shorten it. So, for example, if it was called the About Us page, I would just get rid of the us in the link and just call it about.html. If you try and do it another way, it'll make your life more complicated. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK now. I'm going to go on to do the next button, so click in the next cell, Insert, HTML, Rollover Image. Okay, this one's going to be called Sweet. Okay, so then I'm going to go Original Image, find the Sweet, the standard button, then I'm going to do the Rollover Image. Okay, we just put the alternative text, so it's Sweet button. Okay, and we want to go, remember about shorten it, so we're just going to call it sweet.html. Okay, when you've done that, click OK. Go on to the next cell, and when you do this, make sure you click, you'll notice they're getting smaller now, so just click in the cell. Okay, Insert, we're going to go HTML, we're going to go to Rollover Image, This one's going to be shop. Okay, so again, go and find your standard shop button. Go and find your rollover shop button. Okay, just put the label down, the alternative label, so it will be for accessibility reasons, and then we're going to call this shop.html. Make sure you shorten the length of the page just down to one word, and you're going to click OK. And then we're going to click in our final cell now to put our final button in. This is contact, so again we go insert, HTML, rollover image. Okay, this one's going to be contact. Okay, and we're just going to go and get our standard contact button. Then we're going to get our rollover button. Okay, so we just put our alternative labels. This is our contact button. Okay, we want to just go to contact.html. Okay, now .html is important because it links to the web page file. Then we're going to click OK. But what I'm going to do is, if we just look at how my web page is set out, I just want to line these buttons to the bottom. So I'm just going to select my rows again, like I did. No, I've done it wrong now. Sorry, I don't want to click it. Just click it. I'm going to do this an easier way. So just click into the table and just go to this one here that says table row. Okay, and then you'll get the top. And I'm just going to change it from top to bottom. Okay, and then what my buttons will do now, and you can see how it works there, that now my logo is here and the buttons are lined along the bottom. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add a background color and a font style to our document. And this is really easy to do. You're going to go to File, Page Properties. Okay. You're going to set the font style to the font style that you've chosen. So I'm going to set mine to Impact. You need to set it to a similar style to what you created on your Wix website. So have a look at your Wix website and choose a similar style. You might want to open up Microsoft Word so you can have a look at these different fonts to see what they look like first. Okay, now I'm going to set my background color to be light pink. Okay, and I'm going to set my text color to be dark purple. Remember, your background color and your text color need to be contrasting, so they need to be opposite so you can see them. Okay, then I'm going to click apply. Oh, actually, I'm going to put top margin, I'm going to set that to 0, and it'll just get rid of this line that you can see up here. Okay, and then I'm going to click apply. You'll notice the line's gone. Okay, and when we write now, we'll have a nice font style to use. Okay, now what we've created there is we've created our template page. So now we can save it. So we're going to go File, Save As. Okay, and I'm going to call this template. Okay, going to click Save. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create my pages from the template file. Okay, so this is really easy to do. We just go up to, now we've set up the page, we go up to File, we're going to go Save As. Okay, and the first page, if we look at our buttons, the first page to create is our home page. So remember, in web design, we always call the home page index. Okay, so it's index.html. And remember, this will line up to what we called our buttons as well for the link for our buttons. So it needs to be the same as what you labelled your buttons as, otherwise your links won't work. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, just on our index page, I'm just going to go down to where it says Sweet Shop Template, and I'm just going to say Sweet Shop Home Page. Now you might want to write something more interesting down there, okay, but you need to make sure it's got a different title. Okay, I can now save my index page now. So if you look up here, you notice how it's got a star. That means that there's been edits to the page and you've not yet saved it. So to get rid of the star, you just do Control and S on the keyboard, and that'll save it, or you can just go File, Save. Okay. So that's our index page created now. Obviously, we've still got to put our content in, but we've got the page ready to hold our content. I'm now going to create my About page. So I'm going to go File, Save As. Okay. Remember, these need to be exactly the same as what we called our buttons. So I called my About button about.html. Going to click Save. Okay. I need to go down to my title, and this one is going to be About page. Okay. So you'll notice now we've got our star back because we need to save it again. So you can either do File, Save, or just do Control S on the keyboard. Okay. I'm then going to save it again. Okay, and this next one is going to be Sweets. So I'm just going to type Sweets in, click Save. Okay, I'm just going to go back down to the document title in the Properties window. Okay, and again, we've got to save it, so just Control S on the keyboard or File Save. Okay. I'm then going to create my next page, which is going to be Shop, File, Save As. Okay, we're going to call it shop.html. Okay, remember these are the same as what I've set my buttons up as. Okay, and I just need to go down here where it says Sweets page. I'm going to change that to say Shop page. Okay, so I'm then going to save it. Notice the stars there, so we can just do Control S or File Save. And then I need to do my final page, okay, because remember we've got 5, is Contact. So again, File, Save As. Contact.html. We're then going to click Save. Okay, we're just going to go down to the title, change it to say Contact Page. Again, just click on the page and save it. Okay, and what if I just stretch this out? What you'll see now is we've got all of our pages saved on our side. Okay, so what you can do now is you can start to edit your pages. So close your template page, just keep that down. That's one there in case we need to do anything. Just keep your template page in your folder. You can now start editing your pages individually. Okay. Now, if you want to insert any content, you simply click in the row you want to add the content to. Make sure you see the little cursor flashing. Insert. If you want an image, you've got an image there. Okay. You might want to insert another table if you want to add some more content into it. Okay. You might want to insert a data capture form, which you can do there, and there is a video to support you with this. And if I just show you now, if you press F12 on the keyboard, okay, so if you just press F12, what it'll do is it will actually preview your website. And there is another way you can do it as well by going File. Okay, there is another way you can do it as well in Dreamweaver by going File. Okay, and going Preview. It's a real-time preview, and you can then choose the browser you want to open it in. So if I just show you now, you're going to have to look up here at the tab to see it working. But if I click About, see About, Sweets, Shop, and Contact. Apart from I spelled Contact wrong, so I need to go back and make an edit. But you can see all of our links work. Okay, and now I'm ready to drop my content into the site. Now there are videos that talk you through how to put individual content in. Some of them, for example, the map in the video, will involve you clicking in a cell and then clicking on the code window here, okay, and editing the page code. But the videos will take you through. The only thing to bear in mind, it's a slightly different version of Dreamweaver, but it works in the same way. Just always make sure that you can see your files up here and that you can see your properties window down here. Okay, so good luck. If you do need any assistance, please ask.